Coming up on the Coaches Show, the Riders look to bounce back at home as they hosted the Alouettes, and head coach Corey Chamberlain is here, and we'll talk about Saturday's game and the upcoming battle with the Eskimos. The league's leading rusher Corey Sheets is ready to go, and he'll tell us how he'll get to his Mission 2K. And we'll catch up with Riders head scout Craig Smith on his travels through NFL training camps. That and a whole lot more coming up on the Coaches Show.
2 minutes, tie ball game, play action, Durant, still on his feet, Darian Durant is, goes for the kill shot, he's got it in, Thomas Smith is going to score a touchdown, goes to the wide side, and wide open is Chris Getzlaff, goes end zone, open is Dressler, it's a touchdown.
Hello everyone and welcome to the debut episode of the Rider Coaches Show brought to you by SaskTel. I'm Dan Plaster, and with the help of head coach Corey Chamberlain and his staff, this is a show that will give you an insight to the green and white that no one else will have. And we're going to begin with the highlights from Saturday's thriller at Mosaic Stadium as Anthony Calvillo and the Montreal Alouettes came to town. And a big crowd. It is a sellout crowd at Mosaic Stadium, third largest crowd in stadium history to witness this one. Over 40,000 people in the house, and it would be the Montreal Alouettes getting things going as Anthony Calvillo slips a potential sack. He'd find S.J. Green. It's a 75-yard catch and run. Dwight Anderson finally tracks him down, but the Rider defense would hold the Owls to just a field goal, and they would have a 3-0 lead. The green and white begin to move the ball as Darian Durant to Chris Getzlaff for 27 yards as he'd be tracked out of bounds and would set up this. As Durant would drop back and he would find Weston Dressler in the back of the end zone. It's a 21-yard touchdown and the Riders have a 7-3 lead. And it would be a low-scoring battle as we'd hit 7-3, actually 7-4 in the second as Ricky Schmidt, he would bomb a 68-yard single, and the Riders would have the 8-4 lead. Green and white driving in the second quarter, leading by 1. As Durant is hit, he fumbles. John Bowman recovers, and the score would hold at 8-7 heading into the halftime break. Third quarter, it's now 10-9 Montreal, as John Nieswander, in for an injured Anthony Calvillo, who went out in the second quarter, throws a pick to Tyron Brackenridge, as Brackenridge was down and still gets a lot of love from the bench. And Nieswander, though, would find his groove, hooking up with S.J. Green. He would break a few tackles for 22 yards. It would set up a Sean White punt single and an 11-9 Montreal lead. Chris Getzlaff had a fantastic game, topped with this amazing grab, as this was a 32-yard catch, ended up in a Chris Milo field goal, and in the fourth quarter with a 12-11 lead for the Riders. Fourth quarter, late, all tied up at 14 as Darian Durant is sacked. He fumbled the football as Gerald Brown would pick it up, heads back the other way for the 54-yard touchdown, and it's the Alouettes' only touchdown of the game and a 21-14 lead. But Durant pulls it out of the fire, pumps, then hooks up with a wide-open Taj Smith, 65 yards for the score, and we're all tied up at 21. After a great Rider defensive stand, the Montreal Alouettes would end up going 3 and out. The white punt to Weston Dressler. He would find a seam to his left and end up scampering for 38 yards to the Montreal Alouette 38-yard line. Then it's Chris Milo time for the 36-yard field goal. He splits the uprights, and it's bedlam at Mosaic Stadium as the Saskatchewan Roughriders go on to the big 24-21 win, as there were 2 ties and 4 lead changes in this wild game as Darian Durant threw for 2 touchdowns for the 6th straight time this season, has yet to throw a pick. G. Roy Simon became the 3rd receiver in CFL history with 1,000 catches. Now these 2 teams will meet again on Sunday, September 29th in Montreal. Now, one of the great parts of this show is I get to introduce head coach Corey Chamberlain. And Coach, we got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Let's start with the win on Saturday. You know, I've heard the term before, an ugly win's better than a pretty loss, isn't it?
Well, you know, the one thing I told the guys is a win is a win. And throughout that last game, the biggest thing that we found out was the guys, they had faith in one another. From the first part of the game all the way through the lead changes all the way to the end. So it was more than just an on-the-field win, it was an off-the-field win also.
Offensively, a little bit of struggles, but defensively, you guys played pretty darn good, didn't you?
Yeah, I think we bounced back from the week before. There's 3 phases of the game, and in each game we want all 3 phases to be perfect. But if not, one phase has to dominate more than the other.
And well, there is 3 phases, and one of them is Ricky Schmidt. And I always wonder if coaches tell him to kill it through the end zone. Did you tell him a few times to boot it through the end zone?
Well, we have some strategies that we do every now and again, especially, sometimes it depends on where we are. Sometimes we may want the point, especially if our offense can't move, then we'll take the point and allow them to start on the 35.
Do you like that little goofy Australian rules punt that he does?
I love it, and he's actually the 4th phase. Ricky does a good job of being the 4th phase. He's a very good ball player for us.
And we talked about the defense. Interceptions seem to be tough to come by, not just, with the Riders, but everybody through the league. It seems to be, quarterbacks are very efficient right now, aren't they?
Yeah, the quarterbacks are doing a good job right now. I say for the most part, you see more fumbles than you're seeing with the interceptions. But, that was in the first third of the season. Starting the second third, we don't know what's going to happen there.
But you as a DB, you can't like that.
Well, no, as a DB, most DBs can't catch anyway. So
that's great. Now, into the fourth quarter, you had the one offensive touchdown, and then things like the CFL, it just kind of exploded, didn't it?
Yeah, well, the one thing that's good about the CFL is the last 3 minutes are so crucial, and you have to be able to play your best football in the last 3 minutes if it's a close game. And we've seen a lot of games that's won in the last 3 minutes, and we end up having one of those.
With the touchdown to Taj Smith, it seemed like, was that a play you tried a few times? You tried to go deep with Taj a few times, didn't you?
Well, we had a couple of times where we went deep to Taj, and it didn't come to fruition. But that time, they ended up biting on G-Roy. I think both their high defenders bit on G-Roy, and it was open, and it was good for Darren to see that. I think he double pumped and went over the top, and it was a great catch by Taj and a touchdown.
Now to the field goal, and something that was a little different. The home team called timeout. What did you tell Chris when he came to the sidelines?
We wanted to ice him. We wanted to ice him before they iced him. No, the biggest thing is we told Chris that we would call a timeout. We just wanted to make sure there was a lot of hoopla going on, make sure everything was settled, make sure his nerves were settled. So we told him we would. Then after that, just went to him. It was like, Chris, here you go. It's your turn. And he killed it.
It's something you guys practice all the time. Practice that just field goal at any time during practice.
Yeah,
right?
and that's good. Like I said, during practice, there's a lot of guys always around Chris and saying bad things to him, getting him going. But he needed that moment. Like I said, he's done an excellent job this year, and he needed that moment.
Thanks, Coach. Still lots to come. You're going to stick around and do a little chalk talk?
Yes, we are.
All right. Thanks, Coach. And still to come, we're going to catch up with the league's leading rusher, Corey Sheets. That's coming up after the break here on the SaskTel Coaches Show.
Because you always love me. Oh, what I wouldn't do. Oh, what I wouldn't do. I'll carry the way. I'd do anything for you. My bones may break, but I'll never be untrue. Oh, what I wouldn't do. Your love is like an ocean that always takes me home. Whispering wind is blowing, telling me I'm not alone. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, what I wouldn't do. Oh, what I wouldn't do.
The game's going into overtime, but I've got to pick up Granny at the airport. Max shows Granny's flight is late. Gee, that's too bad.
Check flight times, weather, and more, all while watching TV, only on Max. SaskTel was recently awarded highest in customer satisfaction, twice. J.D. Power has ranked SaskTel highest in customer satisfaction for television service and highest in customer satisfaction for internet service. Thanks, Saskatchewan. It's all for you.
If you're having a few drinks at the game or heading out for a night on the town, you always need a solid game plan to get home safely. SGI introduces the Safe Ride app. With one touch, you can call taxis and designated driver services in your area. Find the nearest bus stop. Even select a driver from your very own contact list. SGI's Safe Ride app. Find it free in your app store and always plan a safe ride home.
Welcome back to the Coaches Show. Now, one of the great parts of this show is we get a great chance to get some insight from head coach Corey Chamberlain, but we also have a chance to get to know the members of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. And right here is a member who's quickly becoming one of the most popular players on this green and white. You can't, it's Corey Sheets, everybody. And, Corey, smile on your face. And I guess even though it was an ugly win, a win's a win, isn't it?
Exactly. That's all we care about is that W.
And I know you're probably shooting for that 100 yards every game, but still 80 yards in a tough game. Are you satisfied with it, or are you always wanting more?
I always want more. This week's game, it wasn't good enough for me and my teammates.
And then, I mean, does the offensive line kind of feel bad about that, or does everybody just kind of take it all in check here?
I think it weighs a lot on everybody not rushing the ball the way we usually do and not performing the way we did. This week's game was an ugly game, but we got the W at the end of the day.
Now, talking with the head coach, he said you guys aren't just looking to win. You guys want to blow everybody out, don't you?
Everybody out. We don't feel like nobody in this league can hang with us when we play our game, and as long as we go out there and play our game, that we don't have to worry about anything. But the past 2 weeks, we haven't played at the top of our game, so that's why team's been hanging in there, and that's why we lost a week before.
Yeah, but it's one of those parts of the season, though, isn't it? There's ups and downs, isn't there?
You can say that, but the way we have our mindset is that's not acceptable. That's not right of football, and that's not how we're going to get used to playing, and we're not going to get used to making excuses. We don't want any excuses. If we lost, we lost. We played bad, we played bad. We got to go in there and fix it right away.
But it seemed like everybody took it on their shoulders, even though it was a win. You guys were almost taking it like a loss.
Yeah, because like I said, the standard in our locker room is excellent, and we didn't play that way. We had way too many penalties, way too many missed assignments, way too many missed blocks, missed tackles, and it just wasn't right of football. We took that personally.
Now, we'll get that out of the way. It's all done, still a win, but we have Edmonton coming up, and still the mission for being the team is the Grey Cup here, right here.
Yes.
And of course, as you see on the shirt, Mission 2K. Let's tell the folks a little bit about that.
Yes, the Mission 2K still is 2,000 yards rushing, and right now we're on pace to hit that goal pretty early, like around 14 to 15.
And I know you wanted it, but how funny is it when you talk to friends that still play in the NFL and say, yeah, I'm going to be at week 9 and have 1,000 yards?
They laugh. They just like, man, I see you up there doing your thing. Just keep carrying that ball. We always knew you could do it. It's those type of encouraging words. But my mindset is I'm so focused, and my O-line is so focused on achieving this goal and getting to the Grey Cup that we don't even need no helping words.
Some people call you the CFL's Adrian Peterson, but you're just the CFL's Corey Sheets, aren't you?
Correct. It's fun to be compared to that guy because he's an excellent back. He's going to go down as one of the best backs of all time, I think. So being compared to him is an excellent honor.
Now, let's get to know a little bit about Corey Sheets. How'd you get here?
It's a funny story. My buddy Carlos Thomas, he was talking to me one day and asked me was I still interested in playing football because he knew a coach that just became a head coach, which was Corey Chamberlain. He said he was looking for a good running back, and he threw my name in the mix. And 15 minutes later, after talking to Carlos, Coach Chamberlain called me, asked me if I still wanted to play football and if I was ready to sign now. And he told me a few things about the game. I told him yes, and the next day he sent me out a contract. I was a Saskatchewan Roughrider ever since.
Now, would you ever thought that you would kind of make a place called Regina your home?
No, not exactly, but it's a cool place. I love it here, and during the bye week, I honestly couldn't wait to get back.
Now, you've actually really kind of thrown yourself into the community too, haven't you? I mean, you've done a lot of stuff in your short time here, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been trying to. That's one thing that I've learned in the NFL is get involved with your communities. The people, they love that, and they'll support you a lot more if they see you out helping the community and being involved with things like that.
Is it strange you go from last year in training camp as, what was it, the number 3 or number 4 guy?
Number 4 guy.
Number 4 guy, and now you're it, aren't you?
I'm the number 1 guy. And, after the Hamilton game last year, Coach Chamberlain sat me down. He was like, man, you know he almost cut you.
Was it that close?
I almost didn't make it in the training camp last year. And through the grace of God and him talking to Carlos once again, I got another chance and made him proud.
So let's look a little back. Younger Corey Sheets, when did you start playing? Did you play Pop Warner and all that little amateur football stuff?
2nd grade, I think I started playing.
So you've been playing for that long, huh?
Yes, a long time. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of lost weekends, a lot of lost nights. But it's all been worth it.
And where are you from?
Connecticut.
And we talked about this before, but not much football in Connecticut. Whenever you think Connecticut, you think basketball.
Right.
That's what you think about.
People
first.
think of UConn.
Yeah, UConn, the Huskies, UConn Huskies. But
Right.
is it just you out of Connecticut football-wise?
No, Dwight Anderson, me and him went to the same high school. and Dwight Freeney went to the same high school, and he played with Dwight as well. So there's a few guys that come out of Connecticut that does well.
Yeah, Dwight Freeney was okay, huh?
Yeah, he's all right.
He was pretty good. Talk about your time in Purdue. It sounded like you had a pretty good time with that college team.
Yeah, that was a big learning experience for me. It's something that you go to school, you go off to school to grow up, and that's pretty much what I did. I went out there and grew up. And as far as the football aspect, it was like you can run the ball real well, but you got to be able to catch the ball and block out of the backfield. And being at Purdue, I got to do that a lot because that's what dominated passing school. So I had to protect the quarterback and catch the ball out of the backfield quite a few.
Now, the one thing I've really noticed the difference between this year and last year is it seems like you care a lot more. Like even when you saw Rob Bagg go down, you took it pretty hard. When anybody goes down, you seem to take things really, really to heart, don't you?
Yeah, I love this team. And this year we came together so fast. It was like almost instantly we just sank together. This guy cared about this guy knew about him. Like we was all just together in jail pretty well. You would have thought we've been playing together for 5 years.
And you can see it in the locker room, can't you?
Yeah, there's no egos, there's no attitudes. If somebody yell at you in a hostile way, you don't take it back and fire back at him. You absorb it and know that he's just telling you because he cares and he wants to win.
Corey, thank you for doing this.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it.
You're pretty good. You want to do this?
Nah, you got that.
Got that. All right. Thanks, Corey, and thanks for doing this. We still got lots more to come on the Coaches Show, brought to you by SaskTel. Stick around, everybody.
Save your sight at work, at home, and at play. Wear a pair of Mission Zero safety glasses. The Riders, WorkSafe Saskatchewan, and the CNIB have a vision towards prevention. Protect your eyes with a pair of Mission Zero safety glasses. Buy them today at WorksafeSas.ca. I'm Tyron Brackenridge, and I believe in Mission Zero.
Saskatchewan is amazing. I just can't wait to get to the lake.
More stories, more insights, more videos. Get more on your laptop, tablet, and smartphone. More to see, more to read with digital access. Subscribe at leaderpost.com. Only 99 cents for the first 30 days.
Welcome back. Now, one of the great things about the Coaches Show is we get to pick the brain of head coach Corey Chamberlain. And today we'll focus on the Edmonton Eskimo offense, as you can see here, and how they use dynamic receiver Fred Stamps to take apart a zone defense.
Well, when you look at Fred Stamps, one of the things that they like to do with him is they like to have a man-zone read with him. And what that means is you'll see Fred move from side to side to see if the halfback to his side is going to move side to side with him. If he stays, he knows that it's going to be a primary zone. If he goes with him, it could be a primary man coverage. So now, as we get through the play, Fred already knows at this point that it's a zone coverage because the halfback didn't come over with him. So as Fred goes through his waggle, he sees right now that they have an outside leverage zone defender. He knows that the halfback is going to be high outside. He knows that the will be low inside. So right now, as you see, the will linebacker, he's dropping off of the back, but he drops a little bit too far here, and he opens a window for Fred in their zone. So now that's an explosion play because it's over 15 yards, okay? And now it's between the will and the halfback to fix what they need to fix to make sure that there's not explosion plays by Fred. If you look also at the end zone here, the end zone copy.
This will finish off the play as he
picks
up his over 15-yard.
Exactly. So that's an explosion play. Created a hole due to the will linebacker and the halfback. Now, if you look at it from the end zone copy here, here's the will linebacker, 6. Okay, Fred has his man zone indicator. The will linebacker drops. but he pushes out past the back, and it allows Fred to come on the inside, and that creates the hole in the space because the low defender, which is supposed to be low inside, ended up low outside. So now you have two outside defenders, which is the wheel linebacker and also the halfback, and that opens up the zone once again for Fred.
Now we have another situation again with Fred Stamps, still again against the Hamilton Ticats.
Well, the first thing you want to look at right here, this is a 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5 type deal. Here's the sticks here. So you see the sticks. They're still running a primary zone coverage here, okay? Now Fred is to the field where he's been to the boundary, okay?
Field being?
The field being the strong side, of the field here, okay? So now they're in a 2-by-3 set, okay? 3 receivers to the weak side, 2 receivers to the front side. And here, they're still playing a zone coverage. So now here's your low inside defender. Here's your low outside defender, okay? Your low outside defender here. And here is your high over the top defender, okay? So now, I'm sure they're thinking that Fred is going deep, or he is at least going to the sticks here, okay? It's a 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5 type situation. As we let the play, here it is, Fred does run to the sticks, okay? So we have the low inside guy jumping Fred. We have the low outside guy both jumping Fred because they're expecting the ball to go there in a second and medium situation, okay? So that's where everyone is, but unfortunately, they throw the ball deep to their second threat, which is Kerry Koch, and it ends up being another explosion play. So therefore, again, Fred Stamps causes another explosion play just by him being in a certain position.
So Fred Stamps is the key?
Fred Stamps is the key in all the rest of them, because if he doesn't get the ball, he's creating something for someone else. So it's very tough when you're playing at Edmonton Eskimo when you have a receiver like Fred Stamps on the field.
So there's a quick look at what we're going to see with the Edmonton Eskimo offense coming up this week. Thanks, Coach, and we have one more little piece to get to.
All right, thanks.
More to come on the Coaches Show.
Hi, I'm Ben Heenan. Growing up in Saskatchewan, I had an opportunity to benefit from participating in amateur sport. Sport, culture, and recreation provide opportunities for you and your family to be active, to learn about leadership and life skills, and to celebrate your heritage. You help Saskatchewan Lotteries fund more than 12,000 volunteer sport, culture, and recreation groups. It makes life better for people across Saskatchewan, and that's something to cheer about.
Your hometown is our hometown. Tune in today for the biggest stars, the biggest games, and the stories that matter to you. Proudly Saskatchewan. The Source, 620 CKRM.
Samsung Galaxy S4 available at the Wireless Age, your SaskTel authorized dealer.
Now, welcome back to the SaskTel Coaches Show. Now, as the Riders are on the field fighting their way to the Grey Cup here in 2013, the man looking towards 2014 is currently on the road right now. Head scout Craig Smith is touring NFL training camps looking for that hidden gem that can help the club not just next year, but for many years to come.
It used to be a lot better when I first started it. They used to have training camps where it was more friendly for the player personnel people, where they'd have a couple practices a day, and you'd be able to see 2 practices. Now, because of the travel, you get in there, you see 1 practice, and I've got a pretty good relationship with most of the teams that I do, and I usually go to the ones that allow me to watch film. Last year I was at the Giants camp, and I went there early, and I said, well, how long can I stay? And he said, you can stay as long as you want. So I stayed there 6 hours just watching film. And then, of course, I saw practice as well. So it's a little different than it was, but, you know, I mean, it's so valuable for us. It's like a snapshot of players. You can't get real in depth because you're not there for long, but you sure get to see, you know, some good things. I got an opportunity to see Corey Sheets a couple years ago, and, you know, he looked good, and boy, he's sure doing a good job now. This will be the 11th year that I've done this, and I leave tomorrow, and it'll be 39 days. I'll hit 8 games and 10 camps. maybe 11 if everything goes well. But you know, it's pretty intense, and there's a lot of practices, there's a lot of travel.
I'm going to get you
What I'll do is I'll write up stuff. I'll have a line with height, weight, speed, you know, different testables, broad jump, all that kind of stuff. And I've got those. Right now, I think I've got something like 500 names in an Excel spreadsheet. Now, I'm not going to see everyone. Usually I get to see around 250 players. But right now I have that spreadsheet ready to go with the comment section. So I'll be taking my notes, and then once I'm done with that team, then I can, you know, get that information and then send it to Brendan. That's the first thing you do, is you go into the NFL camps, and you first make contact with the player personnel guy, and then you talk to them and you say, okay, who's your bubble guys? And then that's the guys that you take a look at, and then those are the guys that you'll write up and you'll have a book on. Since I've been doing this in the 11 years, many years, it was difficult to get these guys that we're looking at right now to come to camp. In the last couple of years, it's been a little different. Sometimes a lot of times it'll be guys maybe I've seen before, and they're ready. You know, it's either I'm going on, I'm going to sell insurance, or I still want to play football. We get the guys that come up here and they love the game, and that's, you know, that's what you're looking for. So, and you've got to get them before they start to think, well, I want to go on with my life, because we've done that before. There's been guys that I've liked, and you know, we've got in touch with those guys, and all of a sudden, no, I'm retired, I'm done. But if you can get those guys before they still got that will. Because you need to have that will to play this game, because this is, you know, it's a crazy game, this game of football.
So I guess Craig Smith finds the players and you coach them?
Craig is out and about looking for them. They find them, we coach them, and then we tell them whether they're good enough or go get us some more.
Do you have any input on any of this, or you just let those guys handle it and you just take what they give you?
Well, for the most part, the ones that are good, you know, I've picked, and the ones that are not, Craig usually picks. But no, we have a little bit of input. You know, it's a process. They bring it through. Brendan and those guys bring it to myself, and I'll look at it, and then if they're what we think would fit scheme-wise, then we move from there.
Now coming up this weekend is the Edmonton Eskimos. Quick back to Commonwealth. That's a weird quirk in the schedule, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, I think the schedules are a little different this year. A lot of back-to-backs and different things going on, but you know, it'll be something, you know, quick for us, but we'll get it out of the way.
Why is it so weird playing in Commonwealth? It just seems like it's quiet all the time.
Well, I think because it's probably the largest stadium in the CFL, and you know, I think it's supposed to be packed this week, if I'm not mistaken. But I think for the most part, it's because it's the largest stadium there, and that's probably the biggest thing.
That offense can really throw it around, as you saw in their loss to Toronto. They just seem to, that's what they're sticking to, isn't it?
Well, you know, Mike Riley, he's a young guy, but he's coming along. He has some good reads in this past game. And I think he threw for over 500 yards. So, you know, that's one of those things that we don't want to repeat. Hopefully his arm's tired and he doesn't want to throw as much.
And defensively, what are some of the things that they kind of present to you? Has it changed at all since the first week of the season?
You know, we're always defenses are always evolving. But the one thing they do, they always have a great front four. You know, Odell, Marcus Howard, and those guys, they do a great job up front. That's where it starts with the Edmonton Eskimos. You know, if you can keep them away from the quarterback, you have a chance.
How's everybody feeling in the locker room, especially when you win dirty like that on Saturday?
Well, you know, there's always, right now, I think the team has a mindset that we want to win, and I think they're still in that mindset that we want to blow everyone out. So that's their mindsets. They know we won't do that all the time, but they're very happy after a win.
I know you probably haven't talked to Ivan yet, but everybody, other than probably Rob Bagg, other than him, probably everybody's pretty healthy, aren't they?
Yeah, you know, for the most part, we did come out of that pretty healthy. We'll know where Rob is in the next day or two as far as the assessment, but at this point, he's still jogging and sprinting, so I mean, he's a warrior, so I guess he's trying to test it out himself.
Coach, thank you for doing this week.
No problem, thank you.
All right, I'd like to thank head coach Corey Chamberlain, as well as Corey Sheets and Craig Smith for being a part of this week's SaskTel Coaches Show. That is it for this episode. See you next week, folks.